right, let's get practicing in QuickBooks Online. Grab the link below in the description so that you can follow along. All right, here we are in the QBO Gym. And the QBO Gym is a place where we have numerous hands-on exercises that simulate real-life scenarios that you may encounter as a bookkeeper. Every month we come out with new exercises for you to practice and complete, and we break it down for you into 4 different sections. Today we're working in the March Year 1 warm-ups section. At the top here is an animated video to give you an understanding of what you, the bookkeeper, will be doing for Craig this month. He is our fictitious business owner. Further down is a pre-assessment quiz as it relates to the video up above. Below that are all of the exercises in this section. And at the bottom is a optional area where after you've completed all of the exercises, we do have some sample posts that you can use on your LinkedIn to share with everybody what you have learned so far. So let's dive right into today's exercise where we are going to practice processing the money that came in this month. So go ahead and click on that link to get the exercise pulled up. I have it over here on the right-hand side, so let's read through our scenario. Craig received 3 checks since you last visited. You will need to apply them to their outstanding invoices. Click the link beneath the warm-ups video to grab a copy. We'll use them for this exercise. So we're going to go back to the gym here, and here's that animated video, and below that you will see this button that says checks. Go ahead and click on that. When you do, you will see it download for you. I have it right here. And this is what it will look like. All right, so you will need to be in the sample company to do this exercise. If you are not sure how to get into the sample company or get your own free QBOA account, be sure to click on the link below in the description. I have the sample company pulled up here. This is the dashboard and what it will look like when you sign in. So let's go ahead and get started with the exercise. We'll start with Gaita Kalpatpu, who sent in check number 4023 for $629.10. Since Gaita put the invoice number on her check, we can easily search for it that way. So here is the check right here. This is the one from Gaita. You will see invoice 1033 is what it says. So let's go ahead and search for it. We're going to click on the magnifying glass icon that is right up here on the top right corner. Click on that, and then we're going to click on Go to Transactions Search. That is down here on the bottom left corner of that search bar. Note that this new advanced search experience might not be available to your client's accounts. You can still search by invoice number, but it looks a little different and is not as smooth. So just keep that in mind as you are doing this in your own books or your client's books. But let's keep going so that you can see the process of how you would do a search for an invoice. In the search your transactions field, type 1033 and then enter. So click into this box right here, type 1033, hit enter. And when you do, you will see the one invoice from Gaita up here. Go ahead and click anywhere on this line. And when you do, the invoice will appear for you. There it is. You're going to go ahead and click on Receive Payment. That is this button right here under the amount. So click on that. In the payment method field, we want to select check since that is how she paid. So click into that payment method field. Go ahead and select check. And then in the reference number field, we're going to type 4023. If you remember, that was the check number. So go ahead and click into that box, type 4023. Now, since Craig has already deposited the check, we will select checking in the deposit to field. In the deposit to field, select checking. So that is right here. Currently, it says undeposited funds, which is the account you would use. It's a holding account. You would use that before the check physically made its way into the bank being deposited. But since Craig has already deposited it, we can go ahead and select checking. So click the down arrow and then select checking. Now, since we have more payments to process, we're just going to use the Save and New feature. So everything is good here. It is showing the amount received, which is the amount that was on that check. So we are good. Let's go ahead and click on the green Save and New button so that we can go ahead and process some of the other ones. Next, let's process the $274.50 check from Shara Barnett. So if I go back to my check, here it is right here, $274.50. It's check number 2367. So in the customer field, let's select Shara Barnett. So click into it. You can either scroll or you can type in. Go ahead and once you find her name, go ahead and select it. And you'll notice that there are no open invoices for Shara. So what could this mean? You may have noticed that there was a sub-customer under Shara Barnett called Barnett Design. So this is what the check must have been for. But let's double check. Let's go ahead and select Barnett Design and see if that is where the open invoice is. So click into that down arrow and this time select Barnett Design. And there it is. Once you do, you will see that this matches this open balance matches the amount of Shara's check. So we know this is the correct one. Let's go ahead and fill out the rest of it. In the payment method field, we're going to select check. So click that down arrow and then select check. As a note here, this payment date, it defaults to today, but you would want to put the payment date as whatever is on the check, the date of that actual payment. So just leave that as is, but just know that in real life, you would want to do that as you're working in your client books. In the reference number field, you want to type 2367. So click into that box, type 2367. The deposit to field, it should already say checking for you because remember, Craig has already deposited the check and so we want checking to be selected. And then we need to click on the box for invoice 1012. So go ahead and select that. When you do, QBO is automatically going to assume that the payment is for the total open balance, which in this case it is. So we are all good with this transaction. All we need to do now is click on Save and New because we have one more left to process. So click on that down arrow next to Save and Close and select Save and New. Now that payment received payment is saved. We have one final one, and that is the one for Red Rock Diner. So let's process that $156 check. Since they included the invoice number, we are going to search for it that way. So if I go back to the one for Red Rock Diner, they have in their memo that it's for invoice 1023, $156, and the check number is 1059. So we want to click on Find by Invoice Number. So click on that. And then we're going to, in the invoice number field, type 1023 because that's what they said the invoice number was. So click into that box, type 1023, and then select Find. You will notice here that QBO found two invoices for Red Rock Diner. The invoice we searched for, however, is 1023 and is only for $70, while the check they sent was for $156, which matches invoice 1024. You can see that open balance that it's automatically selecting because they had, this was the invoice that we searched for. It's for $70 versus 1024, where the open balance is $156. Since the amount is exact, you can probably assume that they meant to write it for invoice 1024 on the check. You could always check with Craig, or if you have a relationship with Red Rock Diner, you could always reach out to them directly. But let's assume that it is for this invoice 1024. So let's go ahead and fill out the rest of this transaction. In the payment method field, we're going to select check. So click that down arrow, select check. In the reference number field, we're going to type 1059. So click into that box, type 1059. You want to ensure that the deposit to field is still saying checking, which it is. And now we want to click on the checkbox next to invoice 1023 to deselect it, and then click on the checkbox next to invoice 1024 to select that one. So uncheck this one. and then check invoice 1024, you will see that QBO has automatically showed the payment for the open balance, which is perfect. That is what the check amount was for. So all we need to do now is just click on Save and Close. So that is the down arrow right here. Click on that and then select Save and Close. And there you go. You have received that payment, and that is how you would receive payments for checks coming in. And if you have any questions or want to know more about the QBO Gym, just click on the link below in the description. We move through the warm-up section where we continue processing the payments that came in with our next exercise where we practice recording deposits. And I will see you in the next video.